Buenos días. ¿Cómo estás? Today I get to interview JR. Quick story. Last year I asked JR if I could interview him about his father's bow making legacy. He's a bowyer. Now get this. I barely knew him. We just met, but I just had that instinct. Can we interview you? He said yes. We kept in touch, but I didn't get a hold of him before I got down here. He remembered, he brought everything. Turns out his wife was killed this last year in a very public facing, in a very highly visible plane crash. What's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, his piece about the situation is like supernatural. So it turns out, he'll tell you the story. Yeah, we can. But, you know, they're believers. And the story, you just have to hear it. But my mind is blown because, you know, when you hear his story, you'll hear how it feels like it was just, you know, part of God's plan for this to happen. As hard as that is to accept, it also makes me realize that, you know, I already set up an interview with him long before this ever happened. And it's a layer of the story that is just a part of their family legacy that is so moving and so humbling. You'll see what I mean.
I've imagined this moment about 1,000,000 times, and I know it's been said that our dreams never lived in real life. From the first time that I saw your face, covered in linen light, you were a moment of grace.
Okay, I'm going to ask Howie to kill the noise on the van. And I'm going to ask you to tell your other part of your story.
If this is a dream, then don't wake me up from this beautiful, wonderful thing they call love. If this is a dream, then don't wake me up from this beautiful, wonderful thing they call love.
Okay, I get to tell story number 2, just asking Skeeter to kill that van noise. Now we're in business. What?
Can I sit on your lap?
Well, I'm going to actually first talk to JR. You have to be quiet while we tell the story, okay? I want JR to tell his story. Okay, Ken Skeeter, we're going to all listen to your story.
Okay.
Too much stuff.
There you go. So where do you want me to start?
Probably just say what happened to your wife and then go from there, like...
Okay, so my wife was Liane Ryan. She taught 6th grade science for 27 years. And after she retired, she was unemployed for about 24 hours. And she took a job through UAF as an early career teacher's mentor, part of the statewide mentorship program, where she would travel to all the villages of the Seward Peninsula, so Shishmaref, Shaktoolik, Gamble, Wales, and then they added, she did such a good job her first year, they added Unalakleet, Glen Allen, and Chivac. So the first time she went up to UAF for training, on her way back, an elderly gentleman sat next to her and says, so what are you doing in Fairbanks? And she was wearing a vest that said statewide mentorship program. And so she explained, she's dealing with first and second year teachers, helping them, just learn how to teach, how to fit in. One of her teachers was born and raised in Long Island, New York, answered an ad for tuition forgiveness. Next thing you know, she's in Shishmaref. So she explained what her job was to him, and he says, just go be the light. The villages need the light, and I will forever, there's no way you can convince me that wasn't an angel giving her marching orders. And she couldn't, obviously, as a teacher in public schools, she couldn't, verbally speak about her faith. She just had to live it. She explained to him, if an elder asks you to do something, the answer is yes. It doesn't matter what you have planned. You go to every school function, all the basketball games, volleyball games, the dances, everything. And when I say dances, is the native dance, with the drums and everything. She shone enough in Chivak that they accepted her as one of their own. One of the elders gave her a Chupik name, and that's Umiliak, which translates to fourth daughter.
Oh,
So the elder that gave her the name was claiming her as her fourth daughter.
that's sweet.
So in February, she was coming from Unalakleet to Nome, and then from Nome flying into Anchorage. And the plane went down in the Bering Sea on the ice pack, and that all 10 souls were lost that were on the plane, pilot and everybody. And I've been asked by the news, if I blame the airline or blame, and I was like, no. Aviation in Alaska is dangerous. We knew that. That's a risk we were willing to take for her to do her job to her utmost. And she thoroughly loved it, interacting with people, learning, as growing up in South Central Alaska, we think of, native village. No. Each one has their own customs, their own culture, their own personality, and she loved getting to know that and interacting with people. And so
How many years did she get to do that?
she did that for 3 years. And we were married for almost 30. This July 1st would have been our 30th. So I still wear that. We got these in Hawaii. I have a matching one.
Oh, that's hers.
For our 28th anniversary. And going through her stuff, and I picked it up and went,
Yeah.
wow, that fits like it was made for me.
That's awesome. Was that trip your anniversary?
No.
Or a different one?
We went to Hawaii quite a bit. Her folks winter on Maui. But we'd try to get over to Hawaii
Nope.
once a year, find a Super Saver flight over. And her dad is actually half Hawaiian, and you'd never know it. His dad was stationed at Hickam Airfield during the Pearl Harbor attack,
Well,
and his mom was a local. And so in all the old black and white family photos, you go, oh, there's a little blonde-haired Jackie. Oh, there's a little blonde-haired Jackie. And so you would never know that my wife was part Hawaiian. She was blonde-haired, blue-eyed, that big, So,
cute.
so yeah, we really liked, just getting into the culture there too. I mean,
Yeah.
speaking with locals, eating local food. That's probably my favorite thing to do, is eat local food wherever I go.
Yeah.
And so
So tell me the part about when you did your premarital counseling. The pastor said.
So just before we got married, we're having premarital counseling, and the pastor drew a triangle. Says, here's you and here's you. The closer you get to God, the closer you get to each other. So we fellowship and worship, and we strive for that every day. Is to get closer to Him, to get closer to one another. Since she passed, church has been pretty hard for me because this hand's empty. Probably 10 years ago, we were in church and there was an older couple in their 70s and they're standing there holding hands. And I said to my daughter, I said, that's going to be me and Mom one of these days. And she goes, Dad, that is you and Mom. So the one piece of marital advice to anybody that's watching this that is married, holding hands is highly underrated. Do it often. It's empty. So just little things like that. I mean, I had no idea how much I would miss that, but especially in church, my hand's empty. And we'd pray together, when we take communion together, and we were connected. Like I said, we were trying to advance up that triangle.
No doubt.
And I'm a fallen sinner, same as everybody else, but I had a partner, and my job, I'd get laid off here and there, and her response would be, oh, I wonder what God's next adventure is for you. I was like, let me be upset for a little bit, and she said, no, you got a new adventure coming. So sweet.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Some days I'll just, see a picture or something, and it's like, just sit there and weep. I mean, it just happens, and some good days, I go out on a walk and, yeah, we used to walk here, we used to do that. Her favorite place, whenever things get hectic, she'd go up to Hatcher's Pass to meet God. It was one of her favorite places. So.
Where was her favorite place in Hatcher's Pass?
Gold Cord Lake. Have you ever been there?
We haven't been there yet. We want to start exploring there.
Okay,
we drove up the far side one time.
Okay, so
the road is still closed.
If you go from this side, if you just keep going up Wasilla Fish Hook to Hatcher's Pass, there's the mine, and across from the mine there's a trail that goes up to a lake called Gold Cord Lake, and that was one of her favorite spots.
Sounds good.
Hi, I'm Jason Ryan. I live in Wasilla, Alaska. Lived here since 1974. My family moved to Alaska in 72 and Wasilla in 74. The song that I ended Liane's memorial with is "Joy is the Flag," because that was her attitude. She total joy at all times. She didn't understand my feeling. She didn't understand that. You're either happy or you're sad. So the song I ended her memorial service with is "Joy is the flag that is flown from the castle of my heart, from the castle of my heart, from the castle of my heart. Joy is the flag that is flown from the castle of my heart, when the king is in residence there. So lift it high in the sky, let the whole world know, let the whole world know, let the whole world know. Lift it high in the sky, let the whole world know that the king is in residence there."
That is so for me. I needed that because that's how I am. Thank you.
So this was, I went to my dad's house to do some computer work. And he says, "What are you doing?" "Sunday." He says, "Well, we're playing at church." I said, "I'll come watch it." And he said, "No, you won't. You'll come sing."
Ooh! Let you up front?
Yeah.
Television commercial. They come on and start singing, and he has a way of remembering the words. But here you are, he says he can make it through, walk
I like your dad.
He's picking bass and melody at the same time. So you may have heard the Kathy Mattea cover of this song. It was originally done by a bluegrass band.
It does sound familiar.
It was originally done by a bluegrass band called Hot Rise, and then Kathy Mattea remade it.
Okay. I feel like I've seen some kids cover this. I've been watching some gospel lately on YouTube.
Missed a key change.
It's still really sweet. Your dad's really pushing you. Was this after Liane passed?
No, this
'cause
was she was
passed.
filming it.
And he died 2 years ago. She died
Yeah.
this year.
Right.
Does this song have... I'm going to wait till this over.
So when Mom passed, that was kind of one of the songs that he liked listening to, you know, 'cause
Your mother?
yeah,
Yeah.
he
Does it have more meaning now that Liane's gone too? That you sang that? Or it wasn't really your song?
it wasn't really our song, but you know, that was one that he, you know, it's like song talks about, you know, I see all the memories, you know, from all the pictures on the hallway, you know, and you know, sad man, you know. Whenever he passed, for some reason, the first song that popped in my head was "He Stopped Loving Her Today." You know, although that song talks about a man's wife leaving, you know, that's what I thought. You know, it's like, yeah, he stopped loving her today because he's now joining her. But I mean, you know,
Well, he stopped today.
right,
Yeah. The heartache is over.
right,
That's the whole point.
right.
Does the Holy Spirit sing to you a lot?
Um,
Or put songs in your head?
Some. I've never really been that musically inclined. My dad stopped playing the guitar for 5 years after my brother died, because that's something they did together. And I got him back into it. Martin Guitar sells guitar kits, so it's pre-cut wood. You have to assemble it. And he built this guitar, and he started playing again. And Mom said at the time, she says, I missed hearing him play too. But at 3 o'clock in the morning, when he's trying to learn a new song for church, I could just crown you one.
Well, you guys were a tight family, but you
Yeah.
experienced some loss. Like, how did your faith help you get through those losses?
Well, I don't know how anybody could get through it without faith. I mean, my sister died when she was 3 days old. And then my brother died at 26. Then my mom in 2016. And then my dad in 2020. And now my bride. At first I wanted to get mad at God. It's like, God, come on. And he's just like, were you jealous they crossed the finish line before you did? Is that what's going on, son? You've got some work to do. It's just kind of like, come on, let me be human and get mad at you. And he's like, no. It's just like, just be quiet and know that I am God. Okay. I don't want to, but okay. I want to get mad, but okay.
Mm-hmm. So what is that to you, like surrender or just you? Tell me about your tattoo.
So on my back I have a big Celtic cross, and it says "Thy will be done." And the first time I went into the locker room, I play goalie. I play hockey twice a week. Some of the fellas, I'm going into the showers, and some of the fellas was like, "What's that all about?" And I said, "It's a daily reminder that I'm not in charge." Well, I said, "It doesn't say my will be done."
Mm-hmm.
And they were just like, whatever. Want a beer?
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I respect that a lot. Were you always that bold, even like as a kid? Did you grow up going to church?
Yeah, we grew up Assemblies of God
Oh, cool.
in Wasilla, and then Matanuska Assembly here in Palmer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Liane and I got married. And that's where
we
we
started
met.
going to an Assemblies of God church. Before that was non-denominational. Now we're going to Assemblies of God, and it's been wonderful.
Yeah. But
My first memory as a child was being put in the daycare there.
oh, really?
Being put in a crib and realizing I have to wait for my mommy to come back.
Oh, wow.
And God reminded me of that when I had my daughter.
Yeah.
I always knew that was my first memory. I didn't think of it very often until I had my daughter again. And then the Lord said, "That's your first memory." And I was like, it really is.
Yeah. So, yeah, we pretty much, if the church doors were unlocked, the Ryan family was there.
Cool.
And I walked away from my faith a little bit when I was in the Marines. It's like all of a sudden I'm on my own, I can do what I want, and
Yeah.
came home and reality sunk in, and so Liane and I met. She was 4 and I was 10, and my mom babysat her because we all went to the same church. And then when I came home from the Marines, sitting in the pew, and I said to my mom, "Who's that?" She goes, "Liane Taylor." Well, I was like, dang, she grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in 1990, and then we got married 5 years later.
Cool. When did your dad ask you that question? It was before that.
It was before that. Whenever on my 24th birthday, he's like, "What is your problem?" What do you mean? He goes, "I was 24, I had a wife and 2 kids." And I'm like, "Well, Dad, second date's proving a bit hard for me." So.
So funny.
Yeah. So.
How'd you ask Liane out?
Well, I worked with the youth some, and we just started hanging out. I mean, I didn't actually formally ever. I don't think I ever asked her formally out on a date.
Yeah.
We just were just hanging out and got to be good friends, and then got closer and closer, and she went to Seattle Pacific University in Seattle, and I went down to see her one summer, or she was doing summer school, to finish. She had changed her major, and so
Is it in Seattle or Tacoma?
it's in Seattle. It's real close.
Oh,
it's
I'm
on
thinking
Queen
of-
Anne Hill.
Okay, I was thinking about Lutheran College. I forgot the name of that one.
I think it is a Lutheran college.
Oh, okay.
But so anyway, so then it's like, oh, my mom said, it takes me 6 months to sew a wedding dress. You're like, what do you mean? She goes, it's getting pretty serious if you're buying a plane ticket to go to Seattle to visit.
Oh, that is sweet.
And so then went down and saw her, and I didn't get my first kiss until she came home from that summer. She came home for a few-week break, and that's when I got my first kiss. And I had been praying, okay, God, with or without her, give me peace.
Sure.
With or without her. And I had all these grand plans how I was going to ask her to marry me. But we were sitting and visiting, and I told her the one piece of advice that my dad gave me that I really stuck was, trucks are always in gear, push the clutch in before you turn the key.
She probably so
guns-
appreciated that.
Guns are always loaded, treat them as such,
Yes.
and never ever say I love you to a woman unless you're ready to back it up with will you marry me, because until then it's just infatuation.
Cool.
So I looked at her and I said, I love you, will you marry me?
Oh.
And then so I had to hustle and buy a ring. And I was like, no, you don't get to pick out the engagement ring. You can pick out the wedding ring.
Oh, that would go. Cool.
So, yeah.
That's sweet. Thank you for saying that.
You're welcome.
So that day that you asked her, you didn't have an engagement ring yet.
No.
Is that typical too, or?
No.
I mean, no.
Most,
Right.
I had planned on, when she graduated from college, meeting her at the, when she got her degree, meeting her down. I had all these grand plans, but
Yeah.
it was just the Holy Spirit leading me, to tell you the truth.
Amen. Amen.
It was just like she needed to hear that. That's how serious I was. Don't say I love you to a woman unless you're ready to back it up with will you marry me? Because until then it's just infatuation.
Cool.
And I've shared that with young men several times since then. It's like, this is the best piece of advice my dad ever gave me. And they, wow, I never thought of that, Mr. Ryan.
We all need to hear that from our elders. We need to hear the truth. And we need to be led and be guided. Like, our parents' job is to model to us, and if we don't have that, we'd be making some bad mistakes out there.
Yeah.
So that is just precious to me.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing that.
I definitely had good model. My folks were married for over 50 years. So
Cool.
I had a good model of a good Christian relationship. And of course, every marriage is, you work at it.
Yeah.
You have to.
Did your parents have a saying like that triangle thing or something?
No, not that I know of.
Right.
But, that was the first time I'd ever heard it. And Pastor Wise, Mike Wise gave me that one.
Cool.
So I helped out with the youth at Kingsway Assembly in Eagle River and worked with him, and I asked him to marry us. And so he's like, okay, well, we started counseling just shortly after.
Cool.
Whenever he told us that, it's like, wow, that makes a lot of sense.
It's so good. Okay, so last thing. Tell how your dad got your mom to come up to Alaska and what the punchline there was.
So, my mom was from Mobile, Alabama. My dad was in the Springfield, Missouri area. On their honeymoon, they drove to Colorado, and they lived there for, I can't remember how many years, but in '72, Colorado Springs put a building freeze on. Well, Dad was a drywaller, so his brother moved back to Missouri, and he says, the pipeline is going in. All those oil field workers are going to need houses. So he told Mom, we'll try it for 5 years, and if we don't like it, we'll move back to Colorado. And Mom used to joke, man, this is the longest 5 years on the record books. And their deal was, okay, you know, I'll never leave you, but you can never complain about the long distance phone charges, so she could stay in contact with her sisters and folks and everything.
No doubt. Love it. Okay. I'm going to end on this Hecky sign here.
Okay.
I call it Hecky, even though it's not really Hecky. It's He is greater than I.